So, Sh0eOnHead is a politically confusing person. Whenever you think they're on the left, they do something, and it's like, oh, they're on the right, obviously. But then whenever you think they're on the right, or she's on the right, that she does something, and it's like, oh, she's on the left. I really just think that she's just kind of dumb. She's just kind of politically not that smart, for better or worse. In this case, it's for worse. Lately, she has been on a tirade of just the traditional rightoid, anti-woke BS. She's been dying on that hill really heavily. She has taken a spike and she has driven it through her chest on that hill. Yeah, she's made the conscious decision to do this. Multiple people have told her that, hey, what you're doing is a far-right grift, and she just says, like, okay, and? But anyways, this is her review of the Barbie movie, and then after, we're going to be looking at her review of that one QAnon movie, Sound of Freedom or whatever. But for now, let's go for the Barbie one. Let's click play.
The Barbie movie, and it is probably the wokest film of 2023.
This movie is not just a piece of shit. This movie is a flaming piece of dog shit.
I don't need to watch Barbie to know.
I feel like Ben Shapiro, politics aside, just his media critiques, he has like, as a Voshite, he has Vosh level media critiques. Pretty much whenever Ben Shapiro says something is bad, I gain like a little bit of excitement for it. I want to see it.
That it's bad.
So, I just saw Barbie, and it is the most preachy, woke, liberal, feminist garbage I have ever seen in my goddamn life. Or was it? Which pill will you—
From what I know, I haven't seen Barbie. I might sometime. Barbie single-handed broke all of these people. True. Barbie is the litmus test for people. But from what I know, it's just kind of like a fourth wave feminism based movie. There's a lot of there's a lot of fourth wave feminism things in it. I don't know the specific word I'm looking for right about now. But there's a lot of tenets of feminism that appear in the movie. That being said, it's not a strictly feminist movie. You can enjoy it outside of the feminist perspective. I'm not saying that like being a feminist is a bad thing. It's a good thing. It is an objectively a good thing. It is a net good on the world. But yeah, that's what I understand Barbie as. Just not necessarily a feminist movie, but a movie that contains feminist values within it.
you take, audience? Will you take the Shapiro pill, where you will stay in reality, crying and shitting about woke Hollywood forever? Or will you take the shoe pill, where reality is anything you make it, and the Barbie movie was actually an anti-woke masterpiece?
Okay, maybe a hot take. I don't think any conservative art can be good. There is not a single piece of conservative art where it's like, wow, that really pushes the boundaries. Or like, wow, that really says something. I just really don't believe that conservative art or anti-woke art can be good. And let's keep in mind that woke started as a word used in the black and queer community, maybe just the black community, I don't know, but I'm assuming the black queer community because that's where fucking everything comes from. But ooh, but this is woke was a word that started in the black queer community as an acknowledgement of racism in the modern world. So when people say this movie is anti-woke, basically what they're saying is that this movie does not acknowledge racism within the modern world and how the modern structures perpetuate racism. That is all that means.
As a kid, I didn't really play with Barbies. I was not really a Barbie enjoyer. I liked dinosaurs, I liked Hot Wheels, I liked office lamps. So
Autism.
Barbie doesn't really hold any
Autism/neg.
special nostalgia in my heart. But I was still very excited to see this film. The trailers to this film made it look funny and charming. Everyone was very excited to see Ryan Gosling as Ken, and every man on earth was ready to download his new personality. And once I saw Ben Shapiro do a 45-minute video, I knew it just had to be good.
Right, one of the Barbies is a trans Barbie with a voice, again, deeper than my own.
Ben,
Based. Most people have voices deeper than Ben Shapiro. Like, I think. How are dinosaurs feminine or masculine? Well, there is like a problem with like historical stuff and basically just cool shit being marketed to boys. So I do think I also think having the opinion that dinosaurs are masculine or feminine is weird. That being said, it is a mainstream belief.
I have a deeper voice than you. Everyone.
But yeah, back on point. I think almost everybody has a deeper voice than Ben Shapiro.
Has a deeper voice than you. What was funny was people were actually dunking on Ben for bringing a notebook to the movie theater so he could write notes while he was watching Barbie. But like, I did that too. Let's see what this says.
So basically what you're saying is you're equally, as a nerd, you're just equally a geek.
Feet? Feet. Oh yeah, there was a lot of feet. There was a lot of feet in this movie. This is literally like hieroglyphics. What is this? What is that? What does it mean? So first of all, let's get the good things out of the way. The set was amazing and gorgeous. I'm absolutely obsessed with the aesthetics of the Barbie movie. I love every single outfit Margot Robbie wore. The fashion and the visuals in this movie just spectacular. Margot Robbie did a great job as Barbie, even though according to the internet, she is mid. If you don't...
I'm sorry. Kind of off topic. If you think Margot Robbie is mid, go the fuck outside. Just plain and simple. Go outside. Margot Robbie is one of, if not the most, like, traditionally attractive woman. Is one of, if not the most traditionally attractive women in the world. I'm sorry if you think she's mid. Check yourself into a facility. I'm sorry. Kind of off topic. Anyways.
Like Will Ferrell, you probably won't like his character in this movie because he's playing the same character he plays in every single movie, but I like that character, so I liked him in this movie. Ryan Gosling absolutely stole the entire movie, and I genuinely hope like he wins some kind of award for it because that would just be delicious irony. I laughed out loud like 3 times, which is less than I thought I would, but there were a lot of like funny and cute moments that will make you go, huh? The humor and the overall vibe of this movie reminded me a lot of Zoolander. Obviously not as funny as Zoolander, but the overall vibe was very early 2000s comedy. If you go into this movie with the idea that this movie was made to look like and feel like a movie made 20 years ago, it just makes a lot more sense. The movie...
Yeah, from what I've seen of Barbie, now keep in mind this is coming from a person who hasn't watched it, but from what I've seen, it is like, well, it's a Barbie movie. So of course it's like campy as hell, and kinda... of course, like, Barbie nowadays isn't really marketed towards kids, it's marketed to people who used to play with Barbie, or at least that is what this movie is marketed towards. It is marketed towards teens and women and people who used to play with Barbie. So I can get why exactly it would be like, oh, reminiscent of the past, you know?
The movie broke the fourth wall often. It felt very self-aware, or at least appeared that way. The parts of the movie where the movie wasn't trying to be anything deeper than what it was were great. But the parts of the movie that tried to be something deeper were really, really bad. But what if I told you that's what makes it so good? Take the shoe pill, and I'll show you how deep this Barbie hole goes.
What?
Barbie hole? Now, before I pop off, before I put on my, 2016 Sh0eOnHead hack.
You bitch. That fella just took away my trade.
Let's make one thing perfectly clear. Barbie was always about female empowerment. I was absolutely expecting a girl power movie. Like, it's Barbie. If you were expecting anything else, then you're a fool. But I wasn't expecting the type of politics that were in this movie. The politics, at least on like a surface level, were very, very 2014. That is like the only way.
I mean, no. I mean, there are aspects of that, sure, but to just discredit the entire political statement of the movie as just being like BuzzFeed feminism, BuzzFeed feminism, BuzzFeed feminism is very dismissive, and I don't think you watched the movie.
That I could describe it. The most tired, lib shit, corpo, Tumblr, male tears ass. It had everything, it had catcalling, it had mansplaining, it had patriarchy. Oh god, did it have patriarchy? The type of shit that's like, if women were in positions of power, everything would be better. And it's like, the whole military-industrial complex is run by women. Italy just elected a far-right female prime minister. A shit ton of people.
The message of the movie wasn't, oh, things would be so much better if women and only women were in charge. The message of the movie is that matriarchy and patriarchy are bad and we should have an equal shake at things. That is the message of the movie. And if you're framing it as any other way, you're being very dishonest. Which Sh0e is being very dishonest because she's not an honest person. If she was an honest person, she would just come out as a Republican already.
In our government are women. How's that all working out? The film opens up with a reference.
Pretty well, considering that all things given, America is as progressive as it's ever been, relatively. Of course, progressivism is a relative statement. But America is as progressive as it's ever been, maybe as it ever will be, depending on, how our next election goes. So I think it's going pretty well. Some cringe things have come out of it, but cringe things come out of everything. And I'm sure if we lived in a pure patriarchy, which we do live in a patriarchy, but not a pure one, I'm sure if we lived in a pure patriarchy, it would be even worse.
To 2001 Space Odyssey. Little girls are seen playing with baby dolls as the narrator tells us about how before Barbie, all little girls got to pretend to be were mothers and nothing else, until a giant Barbie appears and they smash their dolls. Now, keep the intro in mind because we'll get back to that. Barbie world is depicted as what I like to call a dystopian utopia. Barbie essentially...
I don't think you coined that term. I don't think that's a unique to you thing, Sh0e.
Lives in a pink hell world. Every day is exactly the same. Everyone is perfect. They feel no pain. They do not age. They have no need for food or drinks or real showers. They party every night, wake up, and do it all again. The vibe is very much Stepford Wives, The Neighborhood from Edward Scissorhands, and that one episode of Black Mirror. The Kens are just completely cocked and subservient to the Barbie.
I'm sorry. A Black Mirror reference in 2023? I'm sure it's an apt comparison, but come on now. Come on now. Come on. Oh, I'm running low on amenities. Hold on.
They just exist in the shadow of the Barbies. Just an entire subclass of simps, just like you guys. Barbie world is completely run by women. President Barbie, Dr. Barbie, Astronaut Barbie, and then there's Ken. I'm just Ken. And according to the movie, Ken only has a good day if Barbie notices him. Oh, and there's also trans Barbie, which I didn't even know she was trans at first. They never made it clear if she was trans Barbie, or like the actress was just trans and she was just like a normal Barbie. I think the actress was just trans and she was just playing a regular Barbie, which is...
Given Sh0e's history with trans people, Demon Mama, given Sh0e's history with trans people, I think that this is a very, not very blatant, but an attempt at you know, wink wink nudge nudge, you know, at being like, hey, this person's trans.
Which is cool and makes sense because, like, what the fuck would even be the point of transitioning if you're always gonna be stuck playing a trans character? All the Barbies.
What? Trans people shouldn't be shackled to only playing trans characters. By this logic, women can't voice little boys in animated stuff, which is a thing that happens a lot. Just because you are a trans woman, just because your identity is of a trans woman, doesn't mean you need to be shackled to just playing the role of, oh, I'm a trans woman, oh, I'm a trans woman, in every single movie that you're in. That's incredibly stupid, and it's just a dumb take. It's an incredibly stupid take, and it falls flat the second you think about it.
What do all day, every day is like look pretty, compliment each other, give each other awards. It all just feels very fake and, well, plastic. At one point, the movie makes a point about how Mattel discontinued a pregnant Barbie.
Just let trans people live. Based and true. Incredibly true. Based.
Barbie, and how they just want to ignore her and pretend she never existed. Don't look at her. Don't look at Midge. Look at all the doctors and astronauts. Look at all the girl bosses. Look over there. It was almost like the movie was making a point, but I don't know. In Barbie world, Barbie starts to have an
I'm sure that's something to do with shoes, like housewife fetish. But I really don't think that the movie would be going, oh, this character is a housewife and therefore bad. I really don't think that was the thing that was happening. I think it's just making a character whose only character trait is being a housewife interesting is an incredibly hard feat, and they just didn't want to do it. And I paused on feet. Damn it.
Existential crisis because she notices she has cellulite and flat feet and starts to have thoughts about death. She finds out this is happening because the girl who is playing with her in real life is sad, so she has to go to the real world and make that girl happy. So in the real world, Barbie is immediately sexualized and catcalled, and she even gets sexually assaulted at one point. But Ken, coming from a world where he didn't get any attention and was constantly fighting for any kind of attention, was loving the attention. Ask any man the last time a stranger complimented them. Men remember like every single compliment they've ever received in their lives. I know.
Of course, this is a problem. You can acknowledge the state at which men live in. The state in which men are typically not recognized for themselves as an individual, but recognized only as the group being of just being of male, by a lot of people, other guys included. You can do that criticism under the big umbrella of feminism, and in fact, that is part of fourth wave feminism. It is a huge part of fourth wave feminism.
Know the men watching this, there's always that one compliment that sticks out in your mind. Maybe some lady complimented your shirt or your hair, and Ken
Yeah, I get both of those a lot, but I'm just real like that, you know?
is amazed that people are realizing that he exists. So clearly,
Okay. I get a lot of comments from Republicans about the bun. I don't give a fuck. Bitches love it. Sorry, Uncle Sam. Bitches love it. I don't care. I don't care what you think. You're a Republican, plus L.
the movie is highlighting the isolation and loneliness men experience. Clearly. While Barbie is off to find the girl who is playing with the doll version of her, Ken basically gets red-pilled by a right-wing Little Dark Age edit showing the glory and triumph of men. Presidents, rock stars, wrestlers, mini fridges, and horses. And then he learns about the patriarchy.
Oh my god, is that the patriarchy?
Ken reads all of this feminist literature, which tells him that men are in charge of everything and rule everything and can get away with anything. And the
True and based. We can do that.
movie itself never really goes in.
Of course, men being the social class that is men not necessarily being the individual, but also at some points the individual.
To anything else about patriarchy, so I guess that's what patriarchy is. So he walks into an office and asks for a job, and when the guy in charge is like, what are your credentials? Do you have any experience? Do you have a degree? And Ken is just like, well, I'm a man, shouldn't that be enough? So clearly, the movie was showing how ridiculous the idea of patriarchy is. Clearly, Ken decides to bring patriarchy back to his fellow Ken, to free his
The thing is, at the end of the day, you still gotta be qualified. If you're looking for a job, you gotta have the qualifications. However, you are more likely, if you do have the qualifications, assuming you do, you are more likely as a white man to be hired just based on the fact that you have the qualifications. It is tougher for people of color with the same exact qualifications to get the same exact job, and that has been proven time and time again.
Fellow brethren from the Longhouse. Meanwhile, Barbie meets the girl who is supposedly playing with her.
She receives a lecture from the teenage girl about how Barbie has ruined the world and actually is fascist. You get like this full lecture right in the middle of the film. It's truly awful.
You represent everything wrong with our culture. I hadn't thought about you in years, you fascist.
I don't think either of them realize that this character isn't exactly supposed to be the hero, you know?
This scene could have came right out of a Daily Wire skit. The little girl wasn't being depicted as the good guy here. She was being depicted as rude and rude.
Oh, okay. Shu actually acknowledges that. A decent media take from Shu. Whoa. Never would have thought.
Ruthless and cruel for no reason, compared to happy, bubbly Barbie. The little girl is hyper woke. She calls Barbie, the main character, a fascist, and makes Barbie cry. There's also a scene where the little girl says, look, it's that nutcase woman, referring to Barbie, and then the little girl's like, oh, sorry, I mean reality challenged woman. Which shows again, clearly the character is supposed to be like, woke.
Dog, what? That... Sure, man. I don't think that that's what that shows, actually. I think it's supposed to be a like, of course it shows that the character is, ooh, scary woke, but it's a caricature of wokeness. It is mostly a caricature of what conservatives perceive wokeness as, assuming that she's not framing this dishonestly.
And a joke. They eventually find out it's the little girl's mom who is playing with Barbie, and the mom is depressed. And honestly, every scene the little girl and the mom was in just fucking sucked. Like, it just became a different movie every single time they were on screen, and that movie sucked. I didn't really feel much empathy for them. It's implied they had a strained relationship through like a couple of flashbacks, but that's about it. It wasn't done very well, and like, I didn't really care about this. I just found myself wanting to see what the Kens were up to. So Ken establishes the patriarchy in Barbie world, which basically consists of mini fridges everywhere, sports, beer. He turns Barbie's dream house into Ken's Mojo Dojo Casa house, and it looks freaking sweet. The Barbie?
Is she gonna make the argument where it's like, oh, this is what the patriarchy is? This is what Ken's view of a patriarchy is. This is a caricature of patriarchy. Of course, there's more to it than just fucking sick-ass dojos, but that is a part of it. The aesthetics are a part of it, and Ken only understands the aesthetics as a Barbie, an aesthetically driven being, a being that is determined by its aesthetics. Of course, Ken, as a being who is only determined by his aesthetics, would only understand the aesthetics.
In Ken's new established patriarchy seem much happier than before. They're having fun, drinking beers with the Kens,
What the
talking
fuck?
to the Kens about things like technology and sports and movies, as opposed to the Barbie world, where it was just like, hi Barbie, you look so pretty today. Hi Barbie, you look so pretty today. One Barbie even says out loud that it's nice to take a break from being a leader all the time. Like, if they wanted to show the patriarchy being bad or oppressive, they should have like a scene where one of the Kens slaps one of the Barbie's asses and the Barbie's like, ew, you know, much.
You literally acknowledged that that the second that Barbie gets into the real world, she gets catcalled and harassed. You acknowledge the fact that this is a scene that exists. Like, I can prove you wrong by pulling up a scene earlier in the video.
Like in the real world, like what happened to Barbie in the real world, to show that Ken brought patriarchy back from the real world.
He didn't bring patriarchy back. He brought the aesthetics of patriarchy because that's what he understands. It's just media analysis. Please, God. Please, dear God.
But none of that ever happened. Everything just looked cool and fun. Clearly, the movie is saying that patriarchy is good, because if it was trying to say anything else, it failed. The Barbies and Kens are kind of paired up in these little, like, relationships. Like, even though it was the patriarchy, even though the women were seen bringing drinks to the Kens, everything still revolved around the Barbies. They're playing music for them. They're playing the guitar and drums for them. They're teaching them how to play golf.
Both of these things can be true. The reason that it was still all framed through Barbie is because Ken's existence and acknowledgement as a person is framed through Barbie. Ken, just like any other incels, claims their own happiness and existence based off the acknowledgement of others, specifically of the opposite gender. This isn't a new thing. To say that it's even somewhat a new thing is incredibly stupid.
Explaining their favorite movies to them. It just came off like the Kens were being really sweet and nice. Like, compared to Barbie World, the Ken takeover looked like liberation. And then, like, Barbie comes to, like, destroy a slave revolt. The only characters who seem to have a problem with this new established...
And then what she does is she institutes or instates a new reformed state, which is better than the old state.
Patriarchy.
Alright, can you please, dear God, acknowledge that?
Is the outcasted Weird Barbie and the other outcast Alan? During Ken's takeover of Barbie Land, even in the real world, Ken's Dojo, Mojo, Casa House playsets were like selling off the shelves like hotcakes. And he was becoming a more popular toy than Barbie. Will Ferrell, the CEO, for some reason has a problem with this? That he's like making a lot of money off Ken? Because like the CEO's like, no, we're supposed to be about girl power. Yeah, okay, Mattel. I think this movie suffered a lot because, like, they couldn't actually make Mattel the villain. There was no, like, actual villain or threat in this whole movie. Like, there was never...
The threat is the looming threat of patriarchy. Like, that's... If you had any sort of media analysis glands in your brain, you would know this, but you don't.
A time where you feel like on the edge of your seat. Oh no, are they gonna make it? Like, what's gonna happen? There's like none of that. But anyway, the girl's mom and the girl travel back to Barbie Land, and then like the mom pops off on this cringe ass Twitter thread rant about how hard it is to be a human woman in front of the Barbies. We have to be smart, but not too smart. Pretty, but not too pretty.
You have to be thin, but not too. You have to be boss, but you can't be mean.
Okay, this human woman from Human World pops off about how hard it is being a human woman.
And it turns.
Yes. Okay. So, what this is about is when you are a feminine person or a masculine person, when you are a person that exists within the bimodal expression of gender, when you are a person who exists within that, you are expected to have a lot of social stuff baked into you. You are expected to align with a lot of social things that you may not necessarily align with, and it is expected to come with the territory. Of course, a feminine person who has been preached to all their life about how important femininity is would be maybe envious of Barbie, maybe jealous of Barbie, and Barbie's upfront hyper femininity. I can totally see why a person would be jealous of Barbie, and a person would be mad at Barbie for projecting this hyper femininity.
Out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault.
And this like retarded, preachy speech about her human woman problems.
Someone should tell her that Ken is not gonna do her even if she keeps sucking up to his version of patriarchy.
Apparently snaps the Barbies out of their brainwashing. Yes, that's right. The Barbies weren't having fun with their Kens. They were brainwashed by the patriarchy.
Yes, both of these things can be true. You can both at one point be brainwashed by the patriarchy. You can participate within the patriarchy and also have a good time doing it as a woman. You are doing it right now. You are participating in the patriarchy and having fun doing it as a woman. You are doing the exact same thing.
To be a woman under the patriarchy, he robbed it of its power.
The Barbies were happy until this random woman barged in and started telling them about how oppressed women were and how actually it's really hard being a woman. Clearly, this woman is a metaphor for college. At one point during the unbrainwashing, a Barbie snapped out of it and was like, "Why am I wearing this dress? I would never wear this dress." And the mom is like, "Yeah, because you're a physicist." What? I couldn't help but think of like other girl power movies who did this much better, like Legally Blonde. That literally has the opposite message here. And this movie is like, you're smart. What are you doing being hot? Hello? Women can do everything.
I highly doubt the movie ever said this, you know? Barbie characters, which can simultaneously be hot and smart, have existed for as long as Barbie has existed. Like, there have been, like, scientist Barbie, and, like, Supreme Court Barbie, and, like, President Barbie for almost as long as Barbie hasn't existed. And even before then, there were people who projected these things onto Barbie, therefore making her both at the same time smart and attractive. These aren't mutually exclusive. Like, you can be both.
Except want to dress sexy and be submissive to a man, or get along with men in general, or else they're just brainwashed by the patriarchy. Clearly! The movie was trying to show us how ridiculous that is, and was making fun of that. Clearly. So with the new feminist program downloaded into their brains, the Barbies decide to trick the Kens, to distract them into infighting, so while they're busy fighting, they could secure the Barbie World Constitution and take the government back or something. So what do they do? What do they do with this new knowledge of feminine empowerment? They use the Kens' love and devotion and loyalty against them, and trick the Kens into thinking they are cheating on them with other Kens, clearly showing that women will be brainwashed by feminism to destroy monogamy.
Dog, what? Dog, what?
Clearly. Now, while the Kens are busy infighting, the Barbies get back into power, historically, how fascism takes over, and they go right back to living their girl boss utopia. The movie just showing...
Bro. The same thing happened with the Kens. Why can't you acknowledge that? Why are you so averse to acknowledging that the Kens did the exact same thing?
That feminism is doo-doo, and not about equal rights. Greta Gerwig, you genius. Even I wouldn't have come up with such a brilliant movie. Ken learns that he doesn't have to rely on Barbie. He could be his own self and have his own personality outside of Barbie. Basically, like, he just learns to stop being a simp. But what's funny and ironic about this movie is, even though the movie is about Barbie, it's basically the Ken movie. Ken has the biggest character arc. Barbie doesn't even really have one until like the last second of the movie. And then she's like, I don't even know who I am. And it's like, where the fuck did that even come from? There's no like epic moment for the Barbie.
Shu figures out what setting up a sequel is.
Barbies. And the Kens get like a really fun and entertaining musical number. The clash between these two groups on screen towards the end, a woman like lecturing us versus a bunch of dudes dancing and being bros. Like, clearly this movie is pro men, because if it was trying to be anything else, it failed.
Of course the movie is pro men. It's also pro women. It's pro egalitarianism. It is pro equality.
Barbie is...
It's not, the movie isn't saying like, oh, we should take men down in order to uplift women. No, the movie is saying that we should uplift women. And we should uplift people who historically haven't been uplifted to the level of Ken. Like, or to the level of men. That's all. That is all it's saying.
The Matrix for women. Would you rather live in Barbie land, never age and never get cellulite, never cry, and just party all the time with your friends? Or live in the...
Shu, you can do two things at once. True. I feel like this whole entire video could be just that statement. You can do two things. Two things can happen. This entire video could be... I think I've made that same critique about, like, what, 4 times now?
The real world, where everything is imperfect, you age, you get cellulite, and you cry, but it's real. And after holding the hands of Ruth, the creator of Barbie, Barbie is overwhelmed with images of mothers and daughters. So Barbie decides to reject the blue pill, rejects the perfection, and rejects the matriarchy, chooses to stay in the real world, chooses to stay in the patriarchy, and chooses to become human.
So apparently, when she is turned into a real woman, she has now grown a vagina. So the first thing that she does is she goes to the gynecologist, because ladies, the apotheosis of your being is not motherhood. We got rid of that at the very beginning. It is your vagina. It is that you go to the gynecologist.
The scene in 2001 Odyssey shows man could stop being a victim of nature and instead have power over nature. The little girls in the beginning show they don't have to be a victim of the patriarchy. No longer do they have to be confined to motherhood, to nature. They now have power over nature, and so they smash their baby dolls in the shadow of a towering pillar of Barbie, a towering pillar of Mattel, a towering pillar of capitalism, clearly contrasted with the ending of the movie, where Barbie rejects her capitalist utopia created by Mattel, visits a gynecologist, and embraces nature.
What?
Nah, it really ain't that deep. It was just kind of a silly little movie. It was a fun movie. I liked it. It was a nice change from the non-stop Disney remakes and Marvel movies. It was also nice to just see some like color on the big screen instead of brown and gray, because everything has to be gritty and realistic. This was just very cartoony and fun and reminded me a lot of early 2000s movies like Josie and the Pussycats. Also, this movie is like deadass a Rorschach test. I heard people say it's woke, anti-woke, gender abolitionist, alt-right.
She's talking about Vosh here. She doesn't want to name drop, but she's talking about Vosh.
A TERF film. My boyfriend made an entire video about how actually it's a conservative film and how Greta Gerwig is our new Homer. No, I'm not joking. The discourse around this movie.
You made the same fucking video! Oh my god. My name's Sh0eOnHead. I'm not on the right. I just only date people on the right and only agree with people on the right. And I never have any infighting with the right. I only infight with the left.
Is like more interesting and entertaining than the movie. But I do recommend seeing it. I mean, or like waiting until it's on, I almost said DVD. It was cute. You know, not every movie is going to agree with me politically, and that's okay. You know, like, not every movie is gonna be...
She's scared of him after the Balenciaga shot. True. That was still, like, maybe the stupidest drama ever. Like, it's up there.
I don't know. Fight Club? So did you see this movie, and what did you think of it? If you like this video...
Did it? Isn't Balenciaga thing what, like, burnt the the shoe bridge with Vosh. I might be misremembering, but I think it was. I'm not 100% sure. It might have been a part of the Demon Mama thing. I don't know. They've interacted on Twitter every so often after that too, weirdly though. I don't know. I'm not here to police people's like interpersonal relationships. I think she's weird, you know, but I can understand why Vosh would like be friendly towards her, because, you know, they have a history of being friends.
Trying to make some sense of all the shit that never makes sense. I put my opinion in and you told me to keep the two. Trying to change my identity, I told you that